Some news now coming in from the Thiruvananthapuram airport, where we're understanding there is a situation of full emergency. There is the IX-385 with the 165 passengers to make an emergency landing shortly. We're understanding all of this because the plane had a tail hit during the takeoff from the Kozhikode airport. The plane was bound for Daman. That's the big update that's coming in. We'll try and get more details of what really has happened, but we're understanding a plane that was on its way to Daman is now going to make an emergency landing at the Thiruvananthapuram airport. The aircraft was carrying about 165 passengers is what we're understanding, and the emergency landing will happen shortly. All of this because after the aircraft took off, the plane in fact had a tail hit, and that is why now an emergency landing is being made. We'll try and get more details of what really has happened. My colleague Neetu already joining us on the broadcast. Neetu, what are the kind of details that you're picking up? What has happened?
See, this was a flight that was taking off from Kozhikode, from Calicut Airport to Dammam. It was diverted to Thiruvananthapuram due to suspected tail hit. And the latest information that we can give you is that it has landed at Thiruvananthapuram Airport safely. The flight from Calicut to Dammam, which had to do an emergency landing in Thiruvananthapuram Airport, has landed safely. So that is the details that we can give the viewers right now, that the flight has landed safely.
Right. So Neetu, you're saying the flight has landed safely. This was an emergency landing. How many passengers were on board? What airlines aircraft was this? How shortly after takeoff did the aircraft had a tail hit? Any of those details emerging now?
See, the details that we know is that it was a 385 from Calicut to Dammam. It was diverted to Thiruvananthapuram. About 160 passengers is what we are understanding. Initially, a local standby was declared. The tail hit and it was a hydraulic failure. So the problem was that this was a flight which took off from Calicut. So to land, because the fuel was full at the Thiruvananthapuram airport, they were having some difficulties. So they had to dump the fuel, and it was only after that they were allowed to land at the Thiruvananthapuram airport. It happened at 11. First, it was suspected it was about to land at 11:03, but later at 12:15, the flight has landed in Thiruvananthapuram airport, and the flight has landed safely without any issues in Thiruvananthapuram.
And we're putting out those exclusive visuals on our screens as well of that emergency landing. As Neetu is pointing out, the aircraft has landed safely in Thiruvananthapuram with about 165 passengers on board. All of this after the aircraft had a tail hit. Neetu, any other details that are picking up because this was an emergency landing? Any details of alternate arrangements or when this will take off? New aircraft will be arranged, the passengers will be shifted, and then will make their eventual journey. Any of those details that you're picking up?
Those details have not yet emerged because the flight has just landed safely at the moment, according to what we know. They had the tail had hit when it took off from Calicut, so that is why they didn't want to take it all the way to Dammam. They wanted to land at Thiruvananthapuram airport to ensure that it was safe. This took off at about 9:44 from Karipur airport, that is the Calicut airport, is what we are understanding. The flight has landed safely. We'll have to wait for details to know as to what are the rest of the arrangements that have been made, but the flight has landed safely at Thiruvananthapuram airport.
Okay, Neetu, we leave the conversation there. This is a developing story, but the good news is that the flight, in fact, has landed safely at the Thiruvananthapuram airport with 165 passengers. We'll keep tracking all those details. For now, we're slipping into a very short break.